Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. And in this one, I want to talk about working from home and how working from home for the past 5 years has affected me and the positives about it, the negatives about it, everything in between. So let's talk about it. Now, I'll start off with the positives because a lot of people would like to work from home. A lot of people have been working from home like myself until I was recently laid off. But yeah, working from home has been a hot topic because a lot of companies want employees to go back into the office and a lot of employees don't want to go back into the office. A lot of employees feel like they are doing what they should be doing in terms of the amount of work they should be doing, getting things done, and being even more productive at home. So the first thing I'll talk about is not having to commute. Now, for me, this is big because I would say almost every job I've had in the past 12 years of working in tech and gaming has been in a location that's not ideal for me in terms of where I live. And I don't drive, so I'm on the bus, the train, and in some cases, I traveled up to 1.5 hours in the morning and 2.5 hours back home. So this was really earlier or midway through my career when I was at a senior level and I was traveling to places like Culver City, Santa Monica. It was great for me just being able to understand how to get to these places and not really having any excuse at the time in terms of, travel and having to accommodate anything else because I didn't have a car. But yeah, I took some jobs at some very far places in terms of where I live. And at that time, I wasn't getting paid a lot of money. Like I said, I was kind of at a senior level and some of these companies were paying me okay. Some of them weren't paying me okay. So I was really just busting my butt to gain the experience and the knowledge and work with companies that I thought were interesting. So yeah, that's the first thing, is not having to commute. It saves you a ton of time, a ton of stress, and gives you back some time that you can use to work or just do other things in the morning or after you get off work and not have to stress about commuting 2 to sometimes even 5 hours a day, depending on who you are and where you're traveling to and from. Now, the next thing I'll talk about is dealing with meeting rooms. So I've dealt with this at every single company I've worked at, and when I was in office, there would be a lack of meeting rooms and there's always multiple large groups of people trying to get together to discuss different things. And sometimes they were just overbooked, or sometimes people would take them without booking them, without requesting an appointment to use those rooms. And it's just like, I don't want to have to deal with that anymore. Working from home, you could jump on a call anytime. It's much easier when you're in your home environment to do Zoom calls, to do Slack calls, and not have to deal with outside noise or distractions from other coworkers or just people coming in and out of the area. So yeah, I was not a fan of constantly going into meeting rooms, staying in there for long periods of time, or not being able to even get the room, even though I may have booked it and someone much higher pay grade than me decides to take it over. It's happened a few times. Or there's just a lack of rooms to begin with and you're stuck trying to gather around the table and deal with all the noise from the other employees in the area. It's just not ideal. And honestly, working from home and jumping on a call and just turning on your camera or just being on mic is enough, in my opinion, in terms of meetings and not having to deal with the stress of the meeting room. Now, the third thing I'll talk about is having your own setup. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, the company sends you gear to do your job and you could do it from home. Sure. But for me personally, a lot of the times I use all of my own equipment. It's just more comfortable, and having my own desk set up, it just makes it more cozy, and I feel less worried about the equipment that I have to handle and deal with from the company. So just having my own setup has been huge for me personally when working from home, and it's allowed me to, one, just get a lot of stuff done, and two, do other things outside of just working when I'm off the clock. So if I decide to do something online or stream or make videos, then I can easily do that without having to fumble a bunch of other equipment around and adjust my setup. It's just easier that way. So yeah, I would say having your own home setup makes working from home awesome, and not having to deal with a company's equipment and constantly plugging and unplugging computers and other equipment into your setup, on your desk, under your desk, wherever it may be, is great. I would rather just use my equipment going forward if I could, but obviously for security reasons, I understand why companies send you their equipment, because their IT departments set everything up. They have a way to monitor things and address any issues, security risks, or what have you, if they arise. Now, another benefit, in my opinion, or pro to working from home is being able to take a nap. Like honestly, if I'm on lunch and I'm not hungry because maybe I had to eat during a meeting or something, or I know I'm going to get food after the meeting or later on during the day and I'm not actually hungry, then I can just take a nap on my lunch break. I can go into my bedroom, go to sleep, and yeah, just get some rest and come back in an hour and feel better, feel great. And, working in the office, obviously you can't do that. I mean, I've seen people do it or try to do it, and I've seen people go into conference rooms and try to take a nap, and then someone goes in there and they need to use the room, or they try to take a quick nap at their desk, but then someone comes up to them, or there's just too much noise. And just having the flexibility to do that at home, and it's not an everyday thing. It's sometimes when you just are really tired or dealing with a lot and you just need a little bit of rest and relaxation in between your working hours. It's just easier that way, and it makes it a lot more relaxing to do that, and just to have the comfort of being able to walk from your desk setup to your couch or your bed and just take a quick nap, get some rest for a little bit, and come back refreshed is huge in my opinion. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people should be doing it if they're not doing it already, and you are working from home. Just taking a nap in between your working hours when you're in lunch has been huge for me, at least. And yeah, I think it's great. I'm a huge supporter of that. Now, I feel like the biggest benefit for me, at least, has been the ability to be around my wife and my cats more. Now, my wife's schedule is always different. Every single week is always different. So because of that, working from home has allowed me to see her at times or hours in which I would normally not see her, because our schedules would have been different if I was working in the office. So it's given us a much better connection in terms of seeing each other during the day, and just waking up in the morning and having conversations and eating breakfast and things like that, just basic things. It's been great for that. And for at least my cats, Barry and Goten, I will say for Barry specifically, it was huge because, now that he's no longer with us, I'm grateful that I had the time to work from home and spend more time with him, and have him come into my office and hang out with me while I'm working and be on Zoom calls and things like that. So yeah, I don't know what I would have done if, we had to say goodbye to him in a situation where I was working from the office 5 days a week. I mean, I think that would have taken even more of a heavy toll on my mental and emotional state. And yeah, I'm just super grateful that I got the time with him that I did. And Goten's been very, very much more affectionate now that Barry's no longer with us. And being able to work from home is going to allow me to spend more time with him and, just show him more affection and be around him more, because I don't want to take any of these moments for granted. And, I've been very fortunate to have been able to work from home for 5 years and have a lot of moments that I wouldn't have had working from the office 5 days a week. So yeah, that's the biggest one in my opinion, is being able to spend more time with my family, and yeah, it's been definitely important to me. Now I'll talk about some of the not so great things about working from home, and this is something that I didn't think I would experience working from home. And the first thing is just a lack of, I guess, wanting to go out. Because I had been working from home for 5 years, I don't feel like I need to go anywhere. I feel like I'm just here, and that has made me even more introverted, unfortunately. And I'm trying to work on that now, but yeah, it's become a thing where some people will invite me out and I just won't want to go, or even meeting up with old coworkers or something like that. Like I just get in my own head and I start getting anxious, and I either cancel or I just deny the invite. And working from home and just focusing on the work has taken a huge toll on my mental health, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm working on trying to get out more and do more things, be more creative, which is why I'm making these types of videos, because I'm going outside of my comfort zone, talking about all this stuff. And yeah, it's been hard, I'll be honest. And especially with, you know, the passing of Barry, like it just got even worse. So I'm really trying, and I'm really right now focused on creating things and doing things that I want to do until I find another job. Then I'll be working and doing the things that I want to do. But yeah, it's been tough. And I know a lot of people can attest to this, because especially if you're here by yourself all the time, you know, like I said, I like working from home because I get to see my family, but once my wife goes to work and now there's just me and Goten, it's really hard for me to stay motivated to do a lot of things. And I get in my own head, like I said, and sometimes I just won't want to do anything. So I think the thing that's helping me now is being able to create these types of videos on YouTube and focusing on streaming on Twitch and working with people on their stuff, like Andrew, who came over to film a podcast. We had been talking about it for a while, and every time we talk, this like creative spark and this excitement just comes over me, because I don't really have anyone to talk about a lot of the stuff with, you know, the creative side of the things that I'm doing. And having someone like that really motivates me to do more and to spend a lot more time refining and creating new things that I want to make. So that has been helpful. But yeah, for sure, I think the biggest thing has been the toll on my mental health in terms of the negatives of working from home. And there's ways around that. There's things you can do. I just didn't think about this before when I started working from home. When COVID first hit and we all had to work from home, it was not something I was thinking about. But yeah, now I'm definitely of the mindset of trying to improve myself, my mind, and, you know, my overall mental health. Now, another downside to working from home, in my opinion, is feeling the need to constantly be online for work. And this is something I've experienced at every job in the last 5 years. Getting up early because you may have teammates in another country or another state on the other side of the country, or, you know, you have something going live and you're not necessarily tied to that, or you weren't necessarily contacted about being available for that, but you feel like you need to be there. And, you know, being online super early compared to most other people and getting offline later than expected because you have another team coming online in another country. It's hard to turn that switch off and not want to be online to reply to Slack messages or respond to Jira tickets or emails when you're tagged in something super late and you feel the need to respond immediately. It's hard. And I think over the past at least 2 years of me working before I got laid off, I was trying to make it so that I wasn't always available, so that I wasn't constantly online, and I had tasks delegated and ownership of specific things assigned to other people. So I could, you know, be offline at a normal time or not have to get up super early all the time. It's something that still was happening, but I made an effort to try to shut that down as much as I could. And I would say to anyone working from home, make sure you do that. Make sure you shut it down, because it will consume you. It will take over your life. It will make you not happy. It will stress you out, and it will affect you in many ways. So to those of you working from home and you feel like you always need to be online, don't. Just shut it down. Be online when everyone else is online. Be offline when everyone else is offline. You don't need to spend 9, 10, 12 hours online because of other things going on, or you feel like you need to be. If someone tags you in something after hours, respond to it in the morning. It's an unspoken like thing when working from home. You feel like the company wants you to be there all the time, even if they don't say that, you know, because a lot of times they won't say it, or they don't want you to be online all the time, but you feel like you need to be. So yeah, just focus on working your regular hours and not constantly being online to respond to messages, emails, comments on the Jira ticket, updating Confluence documents, or being in meetings that you don't need to be in. It's unnecessary, and it's gonna make your job even worse, if I'm being honest. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is, I guess, the lack of community, or the lack of what a company calls a family feeling, which is complete horseshit. The term is complete horseshit, but I will say that working from home, I don't feel connected to anyone that I work with. Not as much as I would have been connected to them if I was working from the office. And that's all because we're isolated in our own homes, or in remote places, and you know, there's not the same camaraderie or feeling of a team, you know, based on my experience in the last 5 years of working from home. And you know, it's unfortunate because I want to be more connected when I'm working with a team, but I just don't feel that way. I just want to make sure that I'm getting my job done, making sure that other people are getting their jobs done if need be. It's not a sense of like micromanagement or anything. It's just, there have been plenty of times where I've assigned things out and the job has not gotten done. And then I have to message people, and I hate doing that. Just do your jobs. Like, if I could do my job, you could do your job. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to express is just how, I guess, alone you feel and isolated when working from home, and you don't feel the connection with other people that are on your team or within the same company. You know, it makes it harder for you to wanna communicate outside of just the working stuff. So, you know, just messaging someone about something really quick and not wanting to show interest in their interest or the things that they're doing outside of work. I'm not saying you have to show interest, but it makes it a lot easier, and it makes it so that you feel like you're more connected when you show interest. You don't want to just be a robot, and in some ways I felt like I was just a robot doing things to get the job done, to get the product out, whatever it may be. So yeah, and that's it. I mean, that's all of my pros and cons to working from home for the last 5 years based on my experience working in tech and gaming, in QA and production. You know, just a whole lot of good and a whole lot of bad. You know, all of these things can vary from person to person, but honestly, I think the biggest thing is taking care of your mental health and making sure that you're connected to your teammates in some way. You don't have to be a family, because that's not a real thing in the workplace, if I'm being honest, but you want to make sure that you actually show interest and show that you care about people and not just the products, because that's important. You know, that's important to being a good team, being a good coworker, you know, having great products, being a great company. But yeah, that's it. Let me know your comments below. What has your experience been like working from home? How long have you worked from home? Do you have the same pros and cons that I do? Do you have different pros and cons? Just leave them in the comment section below. But until next time, I will catch you later.